Hi kiddos, today is Wednesday. This is your video for today. First we're going to do two guided examples, and then what's going to be a little different today is we're going to do two together. So your only assignment is this Ed puzzle. So make sure you have a piece of paper and be ready to copy this stuff down. So our first step, and let's start off with this one. We'll call this number 1 and this number 2. All right, so for system number 1, I see that both equations are equal to y. That means when I make a new equation, I can make equation 1 equal to equation 2. So to recap, that means this is going to be equal to this. All right, now let's go ahead and do our solving square. This side is going to be x's, and this is going to be my number side. So you tell me, what is going to go in my x side? All right, there you have it. Now, what is going to go in our number side? All right, so now what's next is we need to combine like terms. I get negative 12x is equal to negative 12. Last step, divide, and I get x is equal to 1. Am I finished? No. So we need to remember that systems are x and y. So we need to solve for x and y. So right now we're done with solving for x. All right. We take our original. So let's say I take 8x minus 3. And I'm going to put a parenthesis where x is. What number is going to go in that parenthesis? All right, it is going to be 1. So now we just simplify and we get 5. So that means the solution is x equals 1 and y equals 5. Or I can write this as a coordinate 1, comma 5. All right, now let's take a look at number 2. So number 2 is slightly different than our first and what we did on Monday. So if you see, equation 2 is equal to y, but equation 1 is not. So there's a slightly different process when we do this. So what we're going to do is we take the equation that is not isolated for y. And I'm going to write it exactly how I see it. Now, see where that y was? I'm going to write everything the same, except where that y was, I'm going to put a big set of parentheses. And now, being that this is equal to y, and this is also equal to y, I can replace that parentheses with this other equation. So in that set of parentheses, I'm going to put 5x minus 2. So that's the only difference about this type of setup. I'm going to solve it exactly the same way. But I notice here that when I solved in equation 1, there was no parentheses, so I can move straight to my solving square. Now I have a set of parentheses. Does anyone remember what to do when we solve with parentheses? We do the distributive property. So I'm going to multiply this. All right, but before I do that, let's write down what we can. So negative 3x is going to just get brought down. I'm going to bring down my equal sign, and I'm going to bring down my negative 12. Make sure your equal sign stays lined up with the dotted line. Now, let's distribute. So negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x, and negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Now, I see that this looks exactly the same as what we had in example 1, so my process is going to be the same. I want you to now tell me what is going to go in my letter side. Great. Just be sure that you're keeping the signs because I didn't cross over. Now, tell me what is going to be on our number side. Good job. So I see a few you made this mistake, so make sure to bring it over. When it crossed the lines, I change my sign. All right, let's combine like terms. So I get negative 18x equals negative 18. Wow, weird coincidence. And now I divide by negative 18. And again, I get x equals 1. All right, so now when I pick an original, before it didn't matter because both my equations here were in y equals. Now I see that only one of them is. So that is the one that I'm going to take for my original. It's just easier for us if we take that one. All right, what number is going to go in this parenthesis? You betcha. It is going to be 1. So I plug in 1. And now I simplify. And I get 3. All right, so the solution is x equals 1 and y equals 3, which is the same thing as 1, 3. All right. So those were our guided examples. Now what we're going to do is you are going to practice these two. So you are going to need a piece of loose leaf. And I am going to show you how we're going to set it up on the next page. All right, so here's my piece of loose leaf, and yours is going to look like this too. So I want you to pause the video, and I want you to set up your page just like this. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you to get started, and then you're going to finish the problem. So, number 3, let's start together. I see one equation is isolated for y, and the other one is not. So, I take the one that is not, now, instead of y, I'm going to put a big set of parentheses. Everything else is going to stay exactly the same. All right, so here's your first question. What is going to go into this parenthesis? All right, what you should have gotten was 6x minus 24. All right, now what I need to do is I need to distribute. So when I multiply 4 with 6x, I get 24x. And I multiply 4 with 24, and that gets me negative 96. Everything else is going to be exactly the same. All right, let's set up our solving square. X is going to go on my left, numbers are going to go on my right. What did you get for your x side? Okay. Now I would like you to do the number side. Remember that that 96 crossed over, so that's why my sign changes. All right, what is your next step? It is to combine like terms. Okay, I would like you to pause here and solve for x. All right, you should have gotten x is equal to 4. All right, step 3 is to pick an original. Which original am I going to pick? Is it going to be equation 1 or equation 2? The correct answer should be equation 2 because that is the one that is isolated for y. So I write my equation, I put my parentheses, and at this point we know the next answer. What is going to go in my parentheses? Yep, you got it. It is going to be 4. Now we solve. All right, go ahead and pause and write your conclusion. And there we have it. System 3 is solved. All right, let's do one more. So this one is going to be a little less guided. You're going to start us off. So what equation am I going to write down first? Okay, so the first equation you should write down is equation 1. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace my y with a big set of parentheses. Remember, everything else stays exactly the same. What is going to go in that big set of parentheses? All right, you should have gotten 2x plus 21 inside the parentheses because in equation 2, that's the one isolated for y. All right, what's my next step? Distributive property. So 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times 21 is 84. Everything else gets brought down. Okay, step number 2 is to solve for x. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my solving square. X is on the left, numbers on the right. I want you to pause here. I want you to try to do this whole step. I'm going to highlight it. I want you to do this whole step by yourself. And then we'll see if our answers match. All right, I got x equals -8. Is that what you got? If not, what I would like you to do is check for your mistakes. Here are some common errors you might have made. When I cross over, because it's coming to the other side, I need to change my negative here. Another common mistake is bringing this negative down. These are both negative, so that means this is more negative. Then a third common mistake is another negative sign. When I divide a negative and a positive, I get a negative answer. All right, you guys are experts at this point. What original am I going to pick? Am I going to pick equation 1 or equation 2? You betcha, it is equation 2. And I'm not even going to ask this time. Actually, yeah, I am. What goes in the parentheses? Oh, you guys are pros. -8. All right, let's simplify. What did you get for y? I got 5. All right, let's write our solution and then we are done. All right, that is it for today. What you are going to do now is take a picture of your loose leaf and upload. All right, and that's it. There's no more, there's no practice left. All right, so as always, if you have any questions, type them in at the end of the video. Hopefully we get to see some of your faces tomorrow during office hours. Bye.